Hello YouTube, this is Sibbles and Bits back at it again with another Arcanium run. Wanted to alert you guys ahead of time, just in case you guys are watching these as they come out. I mentioned it in the last run, but next week we have a Back for Blood DLC update coming out, and I have taken the rest of the week off. So chances are, unless something catastrophic happens to this run and it only lasts like 1 or 2 videos, this is probably going to be the last Arcanium run for like a week. So hopefully it lasts 3 videos long. Now, again, just trying to stress that that's not the end of Arcanium, because after that week, we should be having the Arcanium update, and so then I'll probably be all over that as usual. I also want to point out that I really appreciate you guys that are watching the Arcanium videos. You're not always like leaving feedback or comments down in the comments below, but however, I do have access to all the analytics data of the video, and it's clear for me to see that while you guys give me less views than the Back for Blood videos, you guys are actually watching more of the videos on average. And I really appreciate seeing that. So just, I guess keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. And if you have any, again, if you have any feedback, be sure to leave that down in the comments below. Anyways, let's go ahead and start this run. Well, this is actually quite interesting. The reason why this is interesting, because I just answered a question on the Arcanium Discord. Someone was asking what ultimates I would recommend, or not me, obviously, just in general. What ultimates that people would recommend on a Angor-Aurora-Shin team. As someone else had asked, what team would you recommend for your first Apex win? And Angorn Shinzo Tara came up, and I just pretty much like chimed in as I do and stated as an aside that Tara's very good, but I feel like Aurora has better like one-shot potential, especially in this team where she can be defended. Because the main reason that is because Disintegrate doesn't require you to actually draft a card, whereas Tara, you would still need to get Arrow Rain or God, I can't Rain of Arrows or Multi-Shot, I believe it is. You would need to find one of her like top cards in order to get your win condition set up, and then you got to find a bunch of arrow cards in order to facilitate it, get her the draw, all that stuff. With Disintegrate, all you have to do is get burn on Aurora, keep her alive, and then just pop the boss. And this can easily do a truck ton of damage, like 200 plus, I believe. Again, I keep telling you guys I'm going to get some of those bonus wins out that occur off stream, but definitely had one where I popped a boss with Aurora for like, jeez, I think it was 350 damage. But the main thing about Disintegrate versus Engulf and Pyro Burst, these are both also very good ultimates. And I think that she's got a great selection of ultimates. Engulf obviously is going for the burn the enemy, which is a lot safer than burning yourself. But unless you can stack like a ludicrous amount of burn in one turn, Once you get to the boss rush, bosses will cleanse. They'll be red resistant, and then you'll deal half damage. You can't really crit with burn, whereas you can crit with hits. And you can't make enemies vulnerable and take more from burn either. So while it ramps up and deals a lot of damage over time, it just can't punch through bosses like Pyro Burst or Disintegrate can. And of course, I rotated the skills as usual and got Disintegrate, so let's see if I can actually put my money where my mouth is and walk the walk here. Then of course I also suggested that if you go with the self-burn, you don't generally want to use Soothing Rain, because obviously like Cleansing Aurora hampers her damage. I recommended Thorny Shield, because obviously being able to put 10 shield on her will allow her to have up to 10 burn and not take any damage that turn. And of course, Spiritual Bond is also very good, because if you're considering that you're going to be burning yourself, she's going to be taking damage, so then you can just go ahead and circumvent that with this. It costs Angorn health though, so this is a little bit spooky. It's not like... Lazar has Transfusion, which is very similar to this, except heals more and takes less damage. And then, of course, his passive heals with each AP that he uses, whereas Angorn just heals the lowest health person for 2, which after you use this a couple of times is probably going to be him. So, this isn't going to give us a lot of sustain in like the early game. This honestly might be a little bit spiced, but we're going to have to see how this goes. Otherwise, Shinzo is going to have the Taunt Resilience. This, again, is very strong in Scorched Lands, due to the fact that there's a lot of multi-hitting enemies in there. However, when they ult in an AoE for multi-strike, then obviously he wants to be off to the side, and so that he doesn't make them hit everybody. I don't know, I'm feeling good about Aurora, but these other ultis... If I wasn't the way that I was, I would definitely take Shield Wall here and Thorny Shield. And this would be a very good team, in my opinion, for beating Apex. This will be interesting to navigate. The one thing about Shinzo having this ultimate is that he has a couple heirlooms and quite a few cards that gain huge benefits when you have resilience. And generally speaking, the easiest way to do that is to either have a ton of zero cost cards, which Angorn helps very well, or you can have his other heirloom. But obviously, you can't have Iron Bulwark and Juggernaut Bracers at the same time. And the abilities that you're trying to activate is Crush for critical damage when you have 3 or more resilience, Life Force for lifesteal when you have 3 or more resilience. And generally speaking, you would have to spend or play 3 cards. And then of course, like, Trample is absurd. It's basically what we're trying to do on Aurora. But we can just use our ultimate, have 4, and then this by itself would be 6 plus 16 on a retain. That's 22 damage just off of using the ultimate, not using anything else. We can apply our resilience to all allies. It's incredibly good. Restore 2 health per resilience and lose all resilience. Absorb 50% of the damage dealt to other heroes. Like, this combined with his resilience is also incredibly good. I really like, what is it, Rumbling Shout? I'm just not sure. Again, actually, it'll be interesting. We actually do end up getting Juggernaut Aura. Do we take half of her burn damage? That'd be kind of wild. We'll have to take a look out for that. Anyways, let's go ahead and start this run. It's already been 10 minutes. I've been gabbing away. See, I want to fill the week, so that you guys have stuff to watch. Okay. I honestly think maybe we take this team to Scorched Lands. Aurora could use cards that burn herself. Preferably Molten Shell would be very good. Uzir resists all of her damage. And they have quite a bit of burn and other status effects, and we currently don't have a cleanse. Scorched Lands also has a lot of status effects, so I don't think that that's necessarily a good argument to make. Giving everybody more health might be a good idea, especially since Angorn's going to be chunking himself for like, what, 14 damage? 15. 15, but he heals himself for 9 first. Actually, that wouldn't be too bad if we could get the crown here. Spirit Crown is what I'm looking for. This guy right here. Paragon of Wisdom. Gain 3 Spirit at the start of each turn. Spirit increases all healing and shielding that you give, right? Done. Right. That you're giving. By 1 per stack. This is currently pretty much the only way to get this besides an item. And it's incredibly busted. Because there's a lot of characters that like spot heal themselves, like Lazar. Every time he spends a AP, he heals himself for 1, or the amount of AP that he spent. This just straight up adds to that, and it makes him, I'm not going to say nigh unkillable, but he's certainly not going to kill himself with his hemorrhage mechanic. I also noticed that I've never played Lazar on stream. That's very interesting. I guess, like, what would the odds of that be? 1 out of 10 heroes would be a 1 out of 10 chance, 1 out of 9 chance, 1 out of 8 chance, because you can't have the same hero twice. And then I've done, like, what, 8 runs on YouTube so far? That's nuts. Anyways, I think we're going to take us to Scorched Lands, because Aurora's our win condition, and Old Gel? Hey. Convection will actually really help us out. Because it's going to start up that burn engine. And what is this? Just deals more damage. So this is basically... The reason why I recommend taking Disintegrate is because, well, now that I have Convection, it looks weird because it's almost better. You just don't get this 12 upfront damage, but you get the 4 extra damage of per burn on you. But this makes you lose all burn, and Convection gives you the burn, so it allows you to keep ramping. So it just straight up looks better. But the thing is that you cannot guarantee that you're even going to get this, even if this was a common card. I've had runs where I have like a very tanky team, and I'm like, I just need to keep rolling the skill shop. Once I get Shield Crash, this is over, right? Definite easy win, and you just never see it. So, it's kind of funny that we got Convection here, but what this is actually going to allow us to do is get some really ludicrous damage, so long as we can sustain her. Which there is a heirloom of hers. Oh, we're grabbing this, by the way. I can talk while I'm looking at this. There is an heirloom of hers that makes her ignore the first 5 burn on her. And that would be very good for us to get. However, that means that we have to take a shard battle. Events. I'm fine with that. Well, that's RIP. Okay. If I remember correctly, which, in all honesty, maybe I don't, but if I remember correctly, the event, yep, it's a shrine. Okay, because it actually tells me on this screen. Morning Ritual is a shrine, Pisces Tonic is a item, then I believe Special Delivery is just money. So getting an extra shrine in Scorched Land, I don't know if it's in Scorched Land's parameters, because Scorched Lands can roll red, blue, and purple shrines inside the area, and I'm guessing that this also has that limit. Red and blue are particularly interesting with what we're trying to do, because red is good damage, but more specifically, we can get the refunds Fury whenever we use our ultimate, and then we can get the start with Fury with blue. Then, of course, blue's very defensive. There's also quite a bit of damage in there, and purple is just very great utility, honestly. So we're looking at where we're at right now. Did not end up getting... We had the option to grab defense on Aurora, but we didn't. So we could have maybe have done a defense elite battle with this team, with how defensive they are. But I would much rather not try something that risky right away. Okay. This shouldn't be bad. Said before everything went bad. Okay. I don't think there's any reason to give us burn if we're not anywhere close to our ultimate. So we're just going to go ahead and do that for some AoE damage. Give me the weak. I probably could have done is put haste on Aurora, actually. If I would have done that, she may have drawn her a burn card, and then to put some more damage out here. We're fine. Aurora wants to keep that because she's very energy hungry, and we're going to put this out here so that they damage themselves. Try and get rid of this guy. So obviously, I'm very excited for Back 4 Blood DLC. There's a whole bunch of other new stuff coming out this this month and soon. Down in the comments below, because I didn't forget about the question of the day. Is there anything that you guys are particularly excited about? I gotta start thinking here. Okay, I think I got this. Actually, that is a bit of a pickle. We'll take that 5. It's fine. We got Angorn. Yeah. Is there any games or anything coming out that you guys are particularly excited about? I hear there's this hot new game called Elden Ring, but I would guess that everybody's pretty much over that by now. I say facetiously, of course. Right. We basically took no damage there. I said that this was pretty good with the ultimate that we took. However, again, getting access to more burn on Aurora and getting her off of red cards. But if you consider it, it is melee, which is a obvious restriction. This is as much damage as an upgraded fireball, and it helps our win condition. I think we want this. Otherwise, applying more burn. Again, this is a very good win condition, and it is a lot of damage. However, we can just get a couple of cards that help us out for our win condition, and then get Aurora's defense in line. We've pretty much won this game. We just have to go through the motions. I'm just wondering if we can afford to put this in our deck right now. We do have Angorn. We'll do it. Because then that'll also enable convection. But do we get rid of another fireball? Get rid of a Scorch. I almost want to give this card pile to Aurora, but we do need to help out our other character. One thing that I always notice when I come back from having played some of this is I come in and I take a look at like Angorn or Mausavis, and they have their baseline deck and maybe one card, and I'm like, well, maybe we should have done something about that. But let's see, who could use the cards? Enzo could be tankier. He's got those Sacred Bulwarks, which are honestly, they're okay block cards because they have extra cost due to the fact that it gives backlash, and backlash is good here because green is unresisted, but yeah, I don't know. That was the right move. Okay, so apply taunt whenever you hit an enemy. We can keep this in our deck. This is obviously very good, except for the fact that, well, it's not like anything triggers on taunt, and our only ranged attack that we have right now taunts. So, what this would do is if we got, like, say, God, I don't know all the card names, but the kunai that does like 4 pierce damage in green. There's a couple of zero cost. There is a 0 cost like 3 damage ranged blue card. If we get him a lot of like other cards, then we can get rid of the headbutts, which for ranged and taunt is very good, especially on him. But these could be 6 damage, 1 cost, plus taunt with imposing strength. So the ability to get him better range cards is going to be very good. Because, I mean, let's be honest. Like I said, there's nothing that occurs when you taunt an enemy. If there was a relic or something that, I don't know, if you taunted an enemy, they became vulnerable, then this would become very good right now, because we would be able to give vulnerable as we hit somebody in melee. But currently, there's no such support in the game, so this basically just turns your ranged cards into headbutt. Oath of Protection, he's got lots of, not necessarily a lot of shielding. Angorn has shielding though, so then we can spread that, put that onto Aurora to help protect her from herself, because she's burning herself. And Crush, like I said, we use our ultimate, this is immediately activated. They're both very good. We want these. So I was talking about we need a better block card. 5 for Backlash 2. Get rid of that because we now have Oath of Protection, which is retain 5 shield for 2, and then also shields everybody else for 5+. Very good. Crush. I guess we get rid of a... What? I'm willing to keep him at 10 right now. So as I explained in my first video, you might notice that I'm trying to keep this deck as slim as possible. The slimmer your deck, the more reliable it is, because you have to consider that right now we're drawing 3 cards. So if I was to have all these in my deck, what's the worst hand that I could draw? Probably 3 Sacred Bulwarks. I only have 3 energy, so then I wouldn't be able to do anything, right? Or in this case, it would be Sacred Bulwark, and then probably Oath of Protection. Also to note, Crush only gets enabled when we ulti, so that actually might be a good reason to not put it in there. But even for a damage, there's blue enemies here actually. Yeah, okay, I think we skip out on that for now. But if I was to draw Sacred Bulwark and Oath of Protection, I would only be able to shield AoE for 5, which is still a good turn. But if you just keep adding everything, your worst hands start to grow, and then you may not have the cards that you need on a turn where you need it, whereas right now we're drawing 3 per turn, so every 3rd turn we shuffle through our deck. Like I said, there are times where you want big decks, but those are very rare. Oh, thank you. Honestly, I almost think that I want to upgrade 2 cards. Main reason for that, because we honestly don't have a bunch of bad cards in this team. Like, obviously, if it hits Sacred Bulwark, I would be a little upsetty spaghetti, but if this were to upgrade for 2 to for 6, I would just replace one of my Sacred Bulwarks. This upgraded, that'd actually be a pretty good card to put in our deck now, because it'd be at a rate of 2 energy per, or 6 damage per energy. If it hit a headbutt, like, we're generally going to keep these, and it'd make it a little bit harder to replace, so then we'd be less likely to take, say, a ranged card over anything else. Opposing strength would cost less, but for the most part, Infection dealing 6 per just is 50% more damage. And so the other alternative is I'm considering just upgrading that or upgrading this, because 16 for 1, that's absolutely circus. The main thing that I wouldn't really want to hit is actually chrysalises are good. Bramble skins I don't want to hit, because that's not really our strategy right now. I guess we actually upgrade a chosen card. Unless there's something that I don't necessarily... I could upgrade Bramble Skin into a common. Otherwise, I don't really think there's anything that we don't want. This is part of our win condition. And it's going to give us some early game damage, which we need. I think we hit Searing Beam. Yeah, it's a lot of damage. One of those. Nearby? Nope. When is it? That one. Okay. That's unfortunate that we gotta get that far for a shrine. Probably not gonna happen in this video. And I'm starting to notice that we're pigeonholed into a couple of elite battles. Now, Aurora's starting to get some serious damage. I'm almost not afraid of this. But there are a couple fringe, like, if we get a couple of elite Dark Rangers, we're pretty much scuffed. And I would prefer not to run into that situation right now. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to keep it slow. We're going to see if we can't get down to, like, right here. And then we'll try this elite assault battle. Or we'll try the defense battle, because that's probably going to be a lot easier for us. An item will definitely help. Rip Dark Rangers? Don't. I should have swapped it. Again, I'm pretty bad about just clicking that button. Aurora should have been here. Because this is about to... That'll at least get some damage out. This is actually quite good, except Angorn doesn't. Come on, man. If he had 1 extra energy, we'd be able to shield for 9. This would be pretty good. Never mind, this is actually very rough. Aurora being weak is not fun, but at least she's got some chunky damage, so it doesn't matter. Like, this would be pretty bad to use, but Searing Beam is going to do a lot of damage. That? I don't think so, actually. Not with how we're looking right now. Okay, but we do have the taunt, so maybe we do that. It's actually looking relatively good. Well. Would rather save the energy. With her being weakened and this not probably being a good idea, I would rather him not deal 12 and let's take absolutely nothing from that. Honestly, isn't too bad. Obviously, we would prefer not to take this damage, but it is what it is. Really got scuffed on character select here. I think this is much better than a fireball. Even if the enemy resists it, it still does about the same damage as a normal fireball. The only problem is that we don't really use red cards, so this would probably replace a burn or ignite, whichever one it is. But that vulnerable will... We're basically setting ourselves up. We need to find vulnerable somehow, and this is the way to get it. The other thing to take note of is fireflies is just ridiculous. As is so. Like, these are... feel like So is probably one of the best cards that we could have run into. Because it's going to give us 2 Fury for 0 cost. We don't really have good draw, so unfortunately we've got that hampering us. But he does give access to good draw, and we can always just get draw elsewhere. But we would normally want to be built in order to use this. Fireflies, it's retain, blind. So we're going to have to try and solve enemies that are going to ult us for, again, 60 damage. Especially these, you know, these Dark Rangers. Being able to just take Angorn's turn and tell an enemy that it's not going to do anything, and then apply 5 poison. Pretty good. I'm very heavily leaning towards Fireflies, but it also might be Rip and Tear because we need that vulnerable. But there's a lot of other ways for us to get vulnerable. There's Hamstring. It's also just incredible damage. Like, this would almost solve our elites. As soon as we can kill one elite, the fight's going to become much easier. I think the right answer is to take this, though. We're worried about defense, especially on Aurora. We took a ton of damage there. If we would have had Fireflies, the fight would have been easy. Of course, we want to get rid of Bramble Skin. Be something good, please. That's pretty good. Okay, that's disgusting. Is Disintegrate? Oh no. No. Oh man. Obviously we can't use Obsidian Ring because none of us are purple. 1 hex when an enemy hits you would enable crits, and we would obviously want to put that on Shinzo, but that's nothing compared to Broadsword. You're just talking about trying to enable chunky damage. Disintegrate and Searing Beam are both melee, and they're both like the card that we would use when we want something to absolutely die. So it just goes there. And if for whatever reason we do enable her crits, we would be able to put this on Shinzo for Crush, which already crits, but then we don't have to worry about him having resilience, which is the main reason why we would not necessarily want this. Then Seismic Strikes, when they crit, like obviously 12 damage for 1, like I was saying with Searing Beam, that's a pretty good rate for essentially free. It just takes an artifact slot that we haven't filled any of them anyways. Come on, Vent. Okay, we might actually be able to slide through here. I'm willing to spend that gold. You have a campfire, and that can give 40 health. Max health, oh, right there it says is 40. So if we ever feel like Angorn's like not going to make it, we can always just use this campfire for that. Otherwise, I say that we set ourselves up. We're going to hit this, get our level. It is most likely going to be a energy on Aurora so that she can ramp up her Disintegrate faster. Maybe it's draw, actually. Interesting. Like, I don't grab draw a lot. It's not that I don't disrespect it. It's that you generally get more utility of being able to play more stuff in your hand. But are we really getting more utility out of that? Yeah, we'd be able to play our Scorches, but our Scorches and our Searing Beam is generally what would... If we were drawing 4 cards, of course the worst thing that would happen is we would get Solar Blast, Fireball, which would set up the next turn to be a 4 energy turn. And I mean, obviously, we're going to use Solar Blast or Fireball, which are both decent damage. If we had one of these in a Scorch, we get to use Scorch, which is nice. Same with Convection. If we had Searing Beam Convection, that'd be a lot of damage. And being able to draw 4 cards just makes it that much more likely. I think we actually do take draw here. Okay, this is going to be a little bit suffer because we're going to just take damage. But at least the Void Shaman's annoying, but it's the Goblin that I'm mainly worried about here. But if we draw... We didn't. That's unfortunate. Okay. That damage out. Gonna take 4, and that's relatively fine. We actually probably should use the Warrior's Flask. That on the next time. I want her to have the energy. So I'm going to do this instead. Want to keep Fireflies. That. Damage to hopefully get rid of this guy. Spread that shield. Very good combination there. Now he's going to ult, which is kind of a problem. We want to take Shinzo, put him in this corner, have him ult over here so that it only hits Angorn and... So, keeps her alone. She's rooted here. We can't really do anything about it. So, I think this is what we do. Just decide that he's going to miss. About to be ludicrous damage. And I think this is when we take this. Good stuff. This damage is unfortunate, but there's not much we can do about that. Thankfully, Angorn's spot healing is going to keep him relatively healthy. You're already dead. Omaiwa mo shinderu. Nani? We have 4, so we actually have access to Disintegrate so long as we can put her in front of something. Guess what? You're in front of something. This is actually going to be pretty good. So let's work on a bad day. Now, I'm almost willing to try this out. When do you... Because it restores the 9 health and then you take 15 health. Gain 8 health. You can gain 8 health. This isn't really wasted. Okay. Goodbye. Oh, baby. Aurora, people. Oh, we still take the damage? Okay, that's scuffed. Oh, Park skin's very nice. I think we take this. Dispel, not to be slept on, especially on Retain. If an enemy gives immune, any sort of weird shit like that, just get rid of it. Also works since he generally has resilience. If an enemy will generally put 3 or 5 backlash on themselves. So he's more than willing to take that damage just to dispel something and get rid of that backlash so that somebody like Aurora can just come in and blow them up. Gain shield if lethal. We're very good at shielding, so we generally don't worry about this. The only reason we would take this is, well, I mean, it's technically headbutt 2 for 8, but it is 8 damage. There is a... That is something to note, but I think we take Bark Skin here. It's a very good block card and helps us protect Aurora from herself, which, as we said, is the name of the game right now. So, we won't have access to our inn. Maybe we will. I think what we do, use this campfire, heal Angorn, take this Assault Elite Battle. This will unlock a camp if we need it. This will be 8, 9. We'll be able to use the capital if we need to, because we should have 200. Then we'll be able to take this shard battle. Hopefully that does not end in suffering. Oh, hold up. Get rid of that bramble skin because we want bark skin. And bark skin, obviously, like, we get this off on Shinzo before he uses his shield splash. Like, this will solve those ultimates I was talking about where enemies are dealing like 60 damage. This won't necessarily block that, but it'll get pretty freaking close. And if we do have access to more cards in the future, this can easily get there. Up to like 30, which taking 30 from an ult for 60 and taking like shielding for normal and maybe getting 12 shielding a turn. Yeah. That's kind of a no-brainer in my opinion. Hopefully we don't regret this. Elite Blackguard, I'm not really concerned about. I mean, he's annoying. He's going to be doing some damage in an area, but that's nothing that we can't block. This weekend does need to get... We need to get rid of this, but otherwise, he's literally just annoying. So blowing him up is going to be easy. It's the Goblin Looter that I'm afraid of. We can blow up this Goblin Looter ASAP. Okay, hold up. Let's think now. Let's actually think, Bits. There we go. Just in case he has to taunt. No, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Oh, look at this. In fact, you know what? Go ahead and sunder me. I've already used my my shield splash. Turning beam is in hand. You're already dead, kid. Oh, hold up. Would it be worth? Would add 6 damage. 32. God. Might as well charge this. No, let's not charge that ultimate. Because we're going to have to do some serious blocking next turn. Let's bank up that AP. This guy is also going to be annoying. I was really hoping to get fireflies. I did not get fireflies, excuse me. Okay. Now how are we going to deal with this? Because Shinzo, we were talking about drawing your worst hand. Right now this was our worst hand. You know what? It's crazy. I think we give the Might Potion to Shinzo. He deals 27. Okay, let's actually math this out. 27. We're gonna have 7. Use Solar Blast. You're gonna be down to 3. Put backlash on here. You're only going to deal 2 strikes before you kill yourself. Actually, not bad. Okay. It's a shame that everybody is shielded here. Of course, you forgot to use Brainless Skin. That honestly might be okay. May actually want to be here. Now we can use this on ourselves. I mean, like, I won't say no to some, Actually, make you only hit once. That's much better. Of course, weaken me. I don't care. I don't deal any direct damage. Excuse me? You had Dispel. That was silly of me. Took a lot of damage for that mistake. Okay, Fireflies this man. I don't want to deal with that shit. I think we immediately have to go into some damage control here. Are we good, actually? Good. And should have used Sacred Bulwark into the taunt, because then you would have dealt some damage to himself. So then that was actually not worth using at all there. That was a huge misplay as well. I need to slow this shit down. I'm willing to set up my ulti and take 4 damage. Get rid of that. How does it show that it's critical? Is it technically my first melee card? That'd be a little weird. Okay, this man's about to be destroyed. Something end this man's career. This. I believe. I was wrong. Okay. Oh, shows you guys what I know. Fair, putting the 8 over here wouldn't have made a difference with the amount of damage that we have available here. Oh, this is going terribly wrong. Safer for her to be here. So we're gonna have to... we're unlocking are in here. This is going to have to be a very good artifact. Alright, I'm pretty sure I don't want to play with you anymore. Alright. Somehow we managed not to completely screw that up. That is so close to being very good. If Angorn actually did damage, this would solve our entire problem of him just completely destroying himself. Does this count poison, actually? Because it's very weird. It doesn't say hits. There's a couple of relic sets on hit, and they're very weird with damage over time effects. But worst case scenario, we put this on Aurora, and she's able to sustain her fire a lot better. That is... Come on, man. Molten Shield is exactly what we wanted. I think we want that over a Scorch. Now this should not... What does it? This shouldn't count as a threat. If it does, then obviously we're not going to the shard battle right away. Okay. There's a shrine there and it makes me sad. We need to do this. And I still think we take this. Sorry if this kills the... Hey, if this kills the run, it just means that we still get to fit in another run before next week. Think about it that way. It's even an element... Oh my goodness. Be very good for us. I can actually deal with this. We put Aurora in the middle. We should be able to face race this guy super well. Even with Giganticism. Famous last words. Now he's going to hex us. But again, like 200 damage is going to be easy peasy. Then of course I do the fucking Angorn. It's actually pretty suffer. Might as well deal some damage to you. Get some of that charge. Might as well do this. Get that over. Take that. So we've already done 1/20th of the boss fight here. We haven't even used our ultimate yet. But we're getting there. Still need to shield you. Good stuff. That's unfortunate. That's a rough enemy to have here. But I'm still very confident because we have Angorn. He'll be able to use his health to heal everybody. Stirring Beam's back in our hand, exactly what we like to see. Is there anything that we need to do? Yeah, don't ult me. Don't ult so close to me. I think this boss is actually dead. I actually think, no, we wait till next turn. And then we kill this boss. Because we want our ult to crit. 100%. And next turn he's going to use his ulti to heal everybody. We need more block cards on Shinzo, apparently. Certainly helps that out. Let's not stack more of this. And instead what we're going to do is... You're annoying. Yeah, this is good. This is honestly very good. And he is healing from the poison, so... chef's kiss. Time for Angorn to be a hero. So if we get his poison AoE, that's very good for him, actually. And, so close. But the fight's basically over at this point. Shinzo! What's happening, bruh? Oh, man. He'll be fine. Don't worry about him. Hill? Maybe we could have killed with the potion. Hold up. Done 3, another 3. Because I don't think that this crit, actually, if it does crit, then it would be 9. 13. No. We'd take this damage anyways. I'm honestly not sure that I want to take another... Seems nitpicky, but I'm not sure I want to take another 2 damage. Yeah, we'll just kill him next turn. This was a lot closer than I thought it would be, though. This enemy was very problematic for Shinzo. Goodbye. Poison one more person, because that would really help Angorn out. Yes, we can. Like, in all honesty, that was... Oh my good lord. Oh, man. I mean, obviously, we take Sun Circlet. We could get really ludicrous if we take Phoenix Pendant. Only problem I have with that is, because this does apply to your self-burn. That's the reason for that. However, we are kind of running into trouble actually defending Aurora. So, I don't want to take this and then just hope that we get good turns. I would much rather be much more safe and not have to grab as much defense. Again, uproot, not really what we're looking for. Giving him, we were just talking about how he's... Oof, they really did this, huh? I was talking about how he really needs to get more defense, because he is taking a lot of blink damage from ults that are 20, but this was in the first difficulty, right? Enemies are going to be dealing 50% more damage in the next, like, threat bar. So he's going to get ulted for, like, 30. And so he needs to figure out how he's going to block for that amount. However, Slow will do that. And it's also vulnerable, which helps our win condition of just blowing up a boss. This is incredibly good. And it's retained, so we get to use it when we need it. It's already upgraded. Just good. Perfect timing. This is interesting. Just talking about how we needed shielding. And not only does this help him, again, defend himself, Ward applies to any shielding you take, so it applies to any shielding that was applied by Angorn. And so he's going to splash shield with the one card. Cut. What is it? Oath of Protection. Oath of Protection is going to then shield people for 50% more. So I think Attunement is also what we take here. Cauterize is interesting because it would give us an out. It's also a retained shield 6 shield, which isn't bad. Because we don't have to decide to play this with the combo cleanse, but we have the option for the combo cleanse, which is why this is incredibly interesting. I don't think we take this though. If we get offered Cauterize again, we need to take it, but I think Attunement again, because our tank is actually kind of bad at tanking, embarrassingly enough. So what cards do we need? Or who needs cards, who needs what? I think Shinzo needs action points. Just added a couple of 2 costs to him. Angorn could use action points. Because he still has Chrysalises for 2 energy that would allow him to shield twice, or shield and then put out some poisons, which we actually want here because they heal him. Because he sacks himself to heal other people. Thinking that that's the move, honestly, is Angorn. He also has access to that one 3-cost Fireflies. And we would like to be able to also have the ability to position him, then blind something, so that he can't only blind things that are in his lane or the next, because generally speaking, he's going to be off to the side, because either Shinzo or Aurora are going to be in the middle so that they can deal their damage. Give my heroes health, please. Something good. I'll take an Aegis potion. Why you do this? Now, not too bad though, is it? Hex is still damage. The only problem is that the only person who would really be applying this would be Shinzo. And I would much rather have him apply Hex when enemies hit him. The one thing, though, is that we could take this for now. Then if we run into another Oracle, we could up-tier this into a purple, which could be Obsidian Shiv. There's other good purples here, but I know you guys hear me talk about that a lot. I honestly shouldn't even be thinking about that, because it's not really our win condition. Our win condition is to just one-shot things. We'll at least take it, though. Then we're going to just do a little bit of bookkeeping here before we call it a day. I mean, if you're just going to offer it to me, yes, I will transmute our time-worn staff that does very little for us. Ooh. Oh. Oh my god, did Angorn join the dark side? I think I know what the thumbnail is going to be for the last video of this run. I don't know if this works because I haven't tested it, but that means that it's a good time to test it. This would be very good, because we could always just put Scepter on somebody and then this does a lot of damage, but we're not really using Might. The only place where we really use Might is... Aurora has some AoEs, which are very good. Unresisted here. And sometimes she crits, and then it does, 6 extra damage. But if Angorn actually had, like, physical attacks, this would be ridiculous on him. Mainly because we have the Vampiric Scepter, so we would spend 3 health at the start of the turn to do 3 more damage, which is, again, depending on the situation, negligible. But you have Vampiric Scepter, and when you deal damage to enemies, you gain 3 life. This, so long as we deal damage to one person, this pretty much solves itself. But again, not a lot of people are really using Might. This would be very good on Shinzo, but it's lose life, not take 2 damage. It would be very interesting if we had his relic that allowed him to keep 3 resilience. Then that would block it, but that's not how it works. But Illa's Spellbook. Whenever you play any card, deal void damage to all enemies equal to its cost. So we were just talking about how we want to do stuff when we're doing Fireflies. Well, guess what? Making Fireflies also 3 AoE damage is pretty freaking good. And then it does state to deal damage. The question is it artifact damage? Because if it is, this doesn't work. If it is not, and it does count as his damage, restore 2 health whenever we play any card. And now I would almost say that Angorn's unkillable. He can obviously be one shot, but gave him AP. He can just spend 4 cards and get theoretically 6 per card. That'd be 24 health. That's literally the cost that he spends with his ultimate. Plus, we get to science it. We get to see if that actually works. That's exciting. We get to keep that for Wednesday. Let's also get this elemental shrine. Might as well. Oh, baby. Fortunately, Aurora's not really using red cards. Now, one thing to note is that elemental power does affect shielding and heals. So, that would increase her shielding by, I think it rounds down. So, this would be 12 shield. This would be 3 more shield. So 17. So basically it's an upgrade. And that's the one thing to think about the elemental power, right? Elemental power is basically, it's not as much as most upgrades, because most upgrades, the worst ones are like 40%, and the best ones are around like 60% increase. So it's nowhere near as good as an upgrade, but it's an upgrade for all of your cards of a color, and obviously applies on top of upgrades. So it's like an upgrade plus. But like I said, it doesn't affect DOTs. So it wouldn't affect our Scorches. It would be our shield and our fireballs, which I'm thinking we're trying to get rid of eventually. We just don't have the cards that are better than them right now. So we don't take this. Wrath, on the other hand, is just easy damage on literally everybody. Good rushdown tactics. Scorching, if we were going for the... Aurora has the one card, I believe it's called Ignite, that it's the exact opposite of what we're trying to do. Stack burns on ourselves, deal damage with that. Ignite is deal damage according to how much burn is on the enemy. If that was our win condition, we would definitely want Scorching. And this is a lot of damage too. However, I don't think that that's worth slowing our decks down. 10 damage though? Most of our heroes don't even deal 10 damage besides Aurora. I think that this is worth slowing our decks down. Then I almost think in our setup, we don't even need this camp. We just need to somehow survive long enough for Angorn to be able to use his ultimate, and then he'll just heal everybody. Then everything will be fine. Now, oh man, if we could get a light shrine, because isn't that skill? It is. It's a light card. Oh man, imagine this with 25% more. So good. We are headed towards a shrine too. And with our newfound power, I think that that'd be pretty easy for us to get over there. I think we take this card pile too. Angorn needs cards. Actually, does Angorn need cards? We could have better shield cards. No, I think Shinzo needs cards. I think Angorn's pretty much set. No, okay. If we get the AoE poison or catalyze, if we get catalyze, that's going to be ridiculous. We got another bark skin. That was worth it. Recycle is also very good. It we were talking about having your worst hands. Obviously, recycle just allows you to ditch a bad hand and keep a good hand. It also allows us to do shenanigans with our ultimates, which we might actually do in this run. Especially if we can make his ultimate free. Him being able to bank one of his ultimates for later and then be able to like pop off one turn after another. It's going to be very strong. I think Recycle and Barkskin are exactly what we were looking for here. I do believe that Barkskin is better than Chrysalis. Obviously the haste, but we don't have a lot of AP right now, or low-cost cards. So the haste is unfortunately a little wasted. If this got upgraded, for sure I'd put it in the deck, because then that gives 2 haste and 8 shield. Puts it up to a decent rate, just for the shield. I would like to upgrade this Barkskin. But that is for... Actually, do we hate Chrysalis more than... Oh no, we don't. Recycle replaces Brambleskin. There we go. And of course, the thing about having a retain card too is that it'll like slot into your hand and then it won't get in the way while you're drawing through your deck. So if we get him one extra draw for 4, he's going to pretty much go through, like, let's say, Chrysalis, Spine Lash, 1 turn. He has 4 AP, so he's going to be able to play quite a bit of this. And then the next turn will be Spine Lash, Bark Skin, and then maybe draw another card that we used. And then he has Recycle, so he might even draw Recycle back the turn that he uses it. Feeling very good here. Anyways, if you have any feedback, be it misplay alerts, comments, questions, anything like that, be sure to leave it down in the comments down below. Until next time, I'll catch you guys around.